Two bearish facts and reasons you should stick around and watch this show. One, Goldman Sachs reports that only 1% of the world's investing population owns crypto, meaning all the money that's out there in the world, only 1% invested in crypto. Based on what I know, they have to add 19 more percentage points. 19%. The old allocation is 60 stocks, 40 bonds, and somewhere in the 40 bonds is like 1% other. 1% for crypto, the future of money. Second fun fact is Michael Saylor just lowered his target for the year end to 155K. That's interesting. Like Michael Saylor's packing it in on 2025. Can you believe it? Actually, I can, because this market has beat everyone senseless. Honestly. Then the appendix to the fun facts is that Jim Cramer, with the S&P closing at all-time highs, going, wow, that was a terrible close. Hope it's better on Monday. What are you kidding me? These guys in stonks, a terrible close? Yeah, they should be working over here, where literally we live. It feels like, and I get it, feels like the market is on like the edge of the cliff. It's just going to fall over. Minus Zcash, which has become an absolute 2017 mania. A mania in privacy. And man, are we going to talk about privacy? We had a moonshot in Zcash and a huge dump in antivirus before the airdrop. And oh, if I got something from LinkedIn about Monero. You know, people, I haven't said much about this antivirus airdrop for this new privacy token matrix, because I suspected, as I was saying this morning, you could have huge volatility in the token antivirus around the airdrop. This time they did the decline in the token before the airdrop. Some guy dumped 1 million tokens worth 55 grand. I'm like, wow. We'll take a look at tweets from Janice McAfee and his post on LinkedIn that I swear to God is going to blow your mind, particularly with what's going on in Zcash. Appears privacy is still a bad thing in the minds of people out there. You know, because I got a LinkedIn post. I am pleased to announce I have joined. Stay tuned for that. Yeah. Okay. It's like, let's lower the Bitcoin price targets, rightly or wrongly, but everyone decided to get negative except me. You know, every time I make thumbnails, you know, I'm like, let's do some analysis. Let's do some Gann work. And then I'm like, given our analysis, and here are the trending thumbnails, what should I, what do you think we should say? And the machine is like, go bullish. Put the blue suit and the yellow tie on and go bullish. Because you know what? Everyone's going the other way. You know, the trade deal is probably going to get done. You have Web 2 guys, blowout bond sales. It's like, we need to borrow more money to build Skynet. Okay, here's $30 billion. Can I get in on that? This is Wall Street. Oh my God, how do I get these IOUs for Skynet falling over each other? That used to be their attitude about Michael Saylor's paper. Now, that's all nuclear. No one wants to touch his stock. I'm actually interested in it at these levels. No one wants to touch his stock. And believe it or not, here's a list. Ready? Which instrument has the best TA? Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum, or Zcash? The shocking answer coming up in this stream. I am your host, Bill Noble, and this is the Market Update. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for our morning and our evening TA streams. And, of course, leave a comment down below to let me know what you think about the show. Now, before we get started, I know people are having a kind of a little bit of a problem with Aero. So let me clear this up. Of course, we like Aero because we love ETH and we love Base, and that has a huge future. But Aero did not win the YouTube member area crypto showdown this week. That's all. So it's not that we don't like Aero, people. It's okay, right? Anything connected to that ETH universe is going to be tremendous, just like anything connected to that Solana universe is going to be tremendous. I don't care if it happens in March. I don't care if it happens now. Just like ETH, where you had to wait for ETH after the ETH ETF, I can wait. And the fact that everyone is lowering their downside targets, you know, Michael Saylor is, my Gann model is, everybody's lowering their targets. I'm like, okay, we're going to be talking about that Bitcoin ETF, right? And some of the rot that's going on in the stock market and some of the FOMO. You have rot and a Hindenburg omen, which I'm not going to explain. It's self-explanatory because you got a lot of stocks making new 52-week lows and you have equal parts FOMO. Fine. The AI robot trade is different. Elon is out, you know, doing all this shock value, you know, doing clickbait like, you know, robots and AI and Skynet is coming and it's over for you. Actually, it isn't. Okay. Love Elon, love his platforms, love what he's doing for Mars, love what he's doing for humanity. But you know what, folks? There is something that you can do. And for whatever reasons that I don't know, maybe it's this Binance hack, maybe it's whales getting out, who knows? Every uptick gets sold, to state the obvious, okay? But it doesn't crack. Whoever is selling, whatever is happening, yeah, it looks terrible. You get the occasional spike, which we've written about in Patreon. Aave, today was the Aave spike day, right? You get these big spikes in these suppressed altcoins, and that's the market. And every day that goes by, we lower the price target. So we're going to help you play the altcoin game in Patreon. That's the QR code down below. Don't forget, Toby Ward, YouTube member podcast. We actually had a guy on Twitter. It's great passion on this post. This guy was like, Bill and Toby have been red hot all year. Go check it out. Guy just gave us a plug out of nowhere because we're making our customers money. And you know what? Toby's year-end target is higher than Michael Saylor's for Bitcoin. That is pretty funny. That is pretty funny. Everybody's lowering their target. Everybody's packing it in because this price action is beating people senseless, right? This morning we talked about for Halloween, you know, how I got the, you know, I got that I got to pull that, you know, sharp object out of my head for Halloween. By the way, happy Halloween. You know, I'm dressed up as somebody bullish, for God's sakes, because no one else is. Is there anyone left? Is there anyone left on YouTube? Is anybody making? No, there isn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the TA, right? We're going to talk about some news. I've already banged out most of it, but everybody is running scared about 107K. For whatever reason, everyone's freaking out about 107, 104. It's like forecasting a 20 to 30% drop. Everyone's obsessed with 74 now. Everybody wants a new low from April when fear, greed, and risk assets was zero. They got themselves a trade deal. They got themselves a rate cut. Now everything's going to zero. Right. Everyone's like, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to fall to 100K. All right. Well, I mean, I remember when 100K was like this unattainable FOMO target a year ago. It was like 92K and everyone's like 95K. It's like, oh my God, can it ever get through 100? Now, if it goes to 100, the world ends. Federal Reserve board member is out explaining why he voted to not cut rates. There is only one solution to what's going on in the world. Honestly, you cannot adjust anything in legacy. The AI FOMO is propping up the S&P, probably driving short sellers insane. Insane. Not to say that that market cannot go down, because it can. And crypto may be afraid of that. But right now they're not adjusting, and you can't adjust in currencies. And gold adjusted, and that didn't do it. That didn't do it. The pressure in the system has not been vented just because gold went to 4,000. Now, even though that was dramatic, it's not dramatic enough. Not dramatic enough, right? Gold is an inside-the-box instrument. It's a commodity. Commodities rally. When they go vertical, they go vertical. The gold guys waited 10 years. Okay, great. You got your huge gold rally. Now what? Did that take care of the problems in the system? Did that wake anybody up? No. May have spooked the Fed. May have said, well, I don't know if we can do rate cuts because this gold thing is embarrassing for central banks. Okay. But the pressure in the system. Now you're like, Bill, what pressure in the system? Did you know that Zero Hedge is reporting that we are looking at the worst consumer sentiment in decades? Decades. Like back to when I was a kid in the 70s, and I said as like a fourth grader, thank God we're never going to see anything like this again because of Ronald Reagan. Wow. Boy, was I wrong about was I wrong about that? Here we are, 50 years later, we're back. We're back, right? Robots, AI, as one guy said last night, pulling up the ladder on, a job market that is problematic. 30% of Americans cannot afford a holiday. A holiday. That's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, any other, none. Okay. So hence, I'm not packing it in on crypto because I think you're just going to wake up one day. Now, is the one day now? Is it the middle of November? Is it the end of November? Is it February? I don't know. My original idea was that you were going to have 2017 style FOMO in December. And then, next year you were going to have your everything crash. Who knows if that's right? I still believe that they could make a new high in Bitcoin at a minimum. And if they do make a new high this year, it can be bigger than you think. Like, I don't see a reason. I don't see a reason to change my mind unless, of course, we get chopped off at the knees by all these characters that want to take it below 100. Why are we giving up on the only hope for humanity? Are things that negative? They're not that negative because we have a chance. We have a chance. And if you just look at the straight TA, the bottom line is they keep hitting it, but it's not falling apart. It's not. And Zcash, which ironically goes up when the rest of the market goes down or is lousy, continues to go parabolic. Now, at 400, seems to be getting a little crazy, but you had about 5 minutes to buy it at 300 before it turned around and just went crazy. There, and check this out. Now, this you got to check out because I'm going to do this before I do the TA. So let me get this straight. Zcash, which is Bitcoin with a privacy feature, it's far from a perfect privacy feature, but they are working on it. The network has been upgraded, and obviously the horse is out of the barn, and this is a Momo trade on the upside. So privacy is here, right? Well, I don't know. Let's think about it. So let's go to the screen share for just a second. Let's talk about privacy. You want to talk about privacy? Let's talk about privacy. Okay, now, so, whoops, just like in equities, they now have dark pools for crypto, meaning, inside of an institution, no one can see it. you can trade crypto back and forth, and it's private. It's called a dark pool. That this is like absolutely, this is like so 15, 20 years old. I remember when everybody was like, oh my God, Goldman has a dark pool. I remember this big scandal. It's private trading, right? You don't want the whole world seeing what you're doing. Fine. You go to a dark pool. Okay. A hedge fund spectacular. Now they have it in crypto because people want to do stuff without having every human and every robot and every Skynet computer network seeing what they're doing. This is like commonplace. Okay. And now we have this new privacy coin. It's going to be an airdrop to antivirus holders. It's a pre-mint. So the blockchain is not built yet. But guess what? The guys that built antivirus, the guys that delivered on like 75 little deliverables for all kinds of privacy projects, like buying an eSIM card where, they can't peek in on you, or buy an Amazon gift card or whatever without the whole world seeing it. They now have Matrix. And our friend John McAfee, is quoted by his widow, says, sovereigns do not fear bad guys. They fear privacy. And you're like, oh, Bill, that's hyperbole. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're okay with privacy, right? Wrong. Look, now follow me with this. Nexo is thrilled to publicly announce that we have acquired Moonstone Research, an industry-leading Monero investigations firm, and that Moonstone's founder and privacy expert, Justin, has joined the team. Justin. Okay. Now, get this. So when you go to Justin's LinkedIn, right? Look at this. So he used to be a board member of a charity that provides scholarships for students interested in cryptocurrency and privacy. Supports public cryptocurrency infrastructure and promotes privacy. So 1 minute he's promoting privacy, and now he's being hired to bust Monero. Fascinating, says Mr. Spock. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, somebody who knows privacy. Let's hire him to crack it. Gee, are you boys a little worried that the humans might actually wind up being free? A little worried about that, huh? Watching that Zcash price action. Now, look at this insanity. There's a part of me that's glad they got this out of the way. Honestly, because I was worried about this. So here's antivirus. This is, it's a utility token for crypto, and it's a meme of the John McAfee AI agent where they brought him back from the dead. So it's had a 3 million market cap. It went to a 5 million market cap. Somebody decides to cash out 1 million tokens. It goes to 3 million. This is like 20 minutes ago. And now they're buying it again because this airdrop snapshot is Tuesday. I'm sorry. It's November 1st or November 2nd. Okay. The countdown is actually on the antivirus website. Okay. Airdrop. The countdown is 1 day from now on November 2nd. This is matrixprivacy.ai. And, I did talk about this as much because I was concerned about volatility around the airdrop, but they just took care of that. And the point of this, in case you're wondering, is that, this is the Matrix roadmap, all right, which I will not read to you, but I will tell you this, right? So if there are problems with Zcash, which Zach XBT has talked about, he's also discussed very briefly in a tweet about how he's had some problems with Monero. I don't know if that's the privacy function or using Monero, but obviously the world is paying consultants to go out and bust Monero. And you know what I think? I think if somebody builds a privacy protocol that also has DeFi, the ability to have a private stable coin, cross-chain integration, you know what? When they deliver that, and they will deliver it, it's not going to have the problems that Zcash has. And hopefully they can improve on Monero because they're going to have cross-chain integration. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. Keeping in mind, John McAfee lived using Monero in 2018. So not saying anything negative about Monero. It works just fine. However, you know, the consultants and the computers and whoever is out there trying to bust Monero, well, you can have fun with that, one. And two, you can bet your bottom dollar that, you know, McAfee Enterprises, led by Janice, discussed by me, okay? You know, we may be getting a little help from another influencer that's going to be coming back soon after dealing with problems with Uncle Sugar. Yeah. Okay. You guys want to lower your downside target in Bitcoin? Let's just like bring it all back full circle. You want to bring your downside target down in Bitcoin, the future of humanity? Really? When they're actively working to just take you apart? I mean, if you don't have Monero and you don't have Zcash, what do you have? What do you have? And you know what? While we're having a Halloween holiday, let me give you some friendly advice. Question: what is great about being human? In other words, why is being human more interesting than being a robot? In other words, you know, why not just download yourself into a robot? Like, what's good about this? Well, don't laugh, but I would say love. That's what I would say. Love for your fellow man, love for your significant other, love for country, love for freedom. Simple as that. And for the holiday season this year, I recommend love, right? Practice, enjoy it, right? Supposedly the last normal year. Don't approach it that way. Approach it as, from this point forward, we're going to celebrate being human as much as we can. And you know what? That does not include lowering your year-end target for Bitcoin because the price action sucks for 3 weeks. Just saying, Mike. Just saying. Right? Love of crypto. Love of each other. Right? These guys, this, you know, Team McAfee, they suffered horrifically. Right? In other words, it looks like an action novel now, but, you know, what looks like an action novel now was probably woefully unpleasant back in 2018. You know, heroes have something in common. You know, they take it on the chin, either in life or in death or both, until someone realizes, hey, wait a minute, this guy was a hero. You know what I'm saying? And this brings me back to the Bitcoin ETF and this idea that, you know, 1% of investing capital is in crypto. Guys, what happens if they take it to 2%? Let's talk about 2%. They need to have it at 20. It needs to be 50 equities, 30 Bitcoin, 20 other. And again, stay tuned for the TA. I'm doing it. Don't worry. You know, what happens when they go to 2% or 3%? Like, and how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to do that with the Bitcoin ETF. They're going to do it with the Bitcoin ETF, the ETH ETF, the Solana ETF, and who knows, they may start doing Hedera and MicroStrategy because that stock has come down to earth. You know, stock was at 500. Now it's at I don't know. I want to say 260. 269. Beat it up pretty good. Like, you know, remember long-term investing? Remember like value investing? Buy it when it's down? Warren Buffett? MicroStrategy supposedly trades 1.5 times the Bitcoin that it holds. That's the premium. And a bank will trade 1.5 times the deposits or assets that it has. You know, MicroStrategy is trading like a bank, which is interesting because is anybody ever going to buy 700,000 Bitcoin on the open market? I don't think so. I don't think so, to be honest with you. I absolutely do not think so. Okay, let's talk about some TA. Okay. So in Bitcoin, we got to look at the X wave. I've not talked about this. Sharing screen. Here we go. Okay, so this is LuxAlgo's Elliott wave indicator. These are X waves. So an X wave occurs when you have a trend up and then you start to correct. You have A, B, C. Okay. And then you have a messy continuation of the correction. It's as simple as that. And they start marking that as X waves. That's what, Elliott wave starts, they they don't know what to call it. So they call it X. Sorry. All right. Now with X waves, one of two things can happen. You can have this climactic flush below the X waves, which I've seen. I have not seen a cluster of X waves like that in Bitcoin ever. It doesn't happen often. So, I don't know. Can they take it down to 103 based on the Gann model? Yeah, if they want to. However, when they do that, whether they do it or they don't do it, they're selling it into a massive support wall. That's the yellow bar. And you have to ask yourself, what happens if they can't crack it? What happens? Now, here comes the big laugher. Ready? What is perhaps the most bullish cryptocurrency instrument out there? Ready? It could be the Bitcoin ETF. In other words, Michael Saylor lowered his year-end target to 150. What makes an argument for 170 or 180 or the target that my colleague thinks from the last YouTube member podcast, which, we would invite you to watch. We would invite you to watch that. This Bitcoin ETF, like Bitcoin, they have hit this thing so many times. They've got, I don't know, 7 X waves. They just keep hitting it, right? But it doesn't go down. They did make that marginal new low yesterday. They kind of puked it out. How about this? How about we travel the width from the point of the breakout, which could be up here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 90 in the Bitcoin ETF, actually 87, which could be in upwards of 175K. Like I said, what happens when they go from 1% Bitcoin or 1% crypto to 2% crypto? Goldman Sachs crypto now consists of 1% of the world's investing portfolio. Do you got any idea what happens if it goes to 2%? Let me tell you. Let me tell you. So here's a story from 2000. Here's a story about markets love symmetry. And don't worry, we have more TA coming up. Markets love symmetry. So in the fall of 2000, okay, after the top in March, Fidelity adjusted its tech holdings by 1%. So they sold 1% of their tech stocks in the fall of 2000. That drove NASDAQ down 20%. A 1% move by one mutual fund house moved something that was in motion down 20%. Are you telling me that this can't happen again? We couldn't have a 20% move on Bitcoin, at least, when somebody comes in and goes, you know what, we're going to go from 1% to 2%, like BlackRock Asset Management, Fidelity, Goldman Sachs Asset Management, Vanguard, huge pension funds, huge players. They're not going to move from the Magnificent Seven and reallocate some money. Are you sure about that? Everybody dumping, everybody getting out. I don't know. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, to be honest with you. I really, really, really don't. Now, here is the case for the 103 crowd, just to be transparent, right? So this is the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin. And, we started the trend. We went 1 through 9. We had ourselves a failed rally. And now we could have, I don't know, we could have one more day or 2 more days of downside. And, they could take it to 105 before it's over. Maybe. Okay. If they do, well, have fun with that. Because what is the point of adjusting your downside? What is the point of adjusting your upside target based on this? So XRP, so here's the 13 bottom. Okay. And this will tell you about the range bound nausea of this market. So 13 bottom, 9 top, and there we are in the range for XRP. Asleep. The range is, I don't know, $2.32 to $3. It's a complete snooze fest. Complete snooze fest. Okay, Solana. Now, this is interesting on the 4-hour chart of Solana. So we have ourselves a 9 bottom, so we don't want a failed rally. We haven't gotten one yet, but you could become very interested in Solana if it managed to break above 192. Zcash. No sign of stopping. Absolutely blew through the DeMark blow-off top point. Zcash might roll over. Then again, it might go to 1,000. Right? If the general market is no good, if Bitcoin is weak, this thing's going to continue going up and probably won't reverse until Bitcoin starts going up. Just to be honest. We have Tao. We have Big Rich's favorite. 500 is the level. No sign of a top. You could thrust through here. You broke through this. This is our #1 AI pick in Patreon. We have like the AI-based portfolio. Cannot believe the FOMO that you have in equities. The rise in valuations. Let them FOMO. Let them lift the valuations. This is decentralized ChatGPT, is my best understanding of what Tao is, and it's basically in a range. It's like a big square range if you look at a weekly chart, which I call the Synthetix formation from 2020. And when this thing goes, kind of 13 and a 9 bottom, a massive spike to make sure everyone is out, this is only beginning. This is the beginning. This is why everyone's trying to tell me, oh, we're in a bear market, we're going into a bear market. No, bro, we've been in a bear market. Okay. One of our customers is into TIG. And I am so happy that TIG worked out for him as of today. Because as we have been telling people over and over and over and over again, there's no need to give up on your altcoin just because it's dormant. Because one day somebody could come in and boom. And if you understood why you liked it to begin with, there's no reason to give up on a lot of these altcoins. Because altcoins are in the mood to spike. And this is no different. I mean, do you realize that, like, in terms of, I don't know, just in terms of people giving up, right? Like all these people that gave up, all this whole give up trade has almost been entirely unwound. It's almost been entirely unwound. Okay. A super chat from Big Rich We owed him a super chat from earlier this morning. Sorry, we forgot that, bro. Coffee machine was out of Fritz. Okay. TAI AI. Now, what's the most important thing on this picture? Well, it's dormant and it has a $36 million market cap. 36 million. Oh, look, AI on Solana. So just to be clear, we did $30 billion worth of bonds for one company because they need to build stuff. And nobody wants to touch a $30 million crypto project. 30 million. Do you know how many of these there are? Oh my God. PEAQ, AKT, we got the whole list. We got a spike portfolio for all you leverage day traders out there, right? Like what's going to spike? Aave was on our list. Heidi ho, Aave up 15% today. We have essentially a spike watch list in Patreon Platinum. So feel free to check that out in the link down below or on the QR code that the Eagle King is putting up right now. How are we not doing this trade? Let's forget about Bitcoin. Let's forget about everybody's bearish, fantasies about it's going down 20 or 30%. How are you going to have a 20 or 30% decline in Bitcoin when all of these AI coins under everyone, all these sectors are not only undervalued, this is what Toby's been trying to tell you about buckets and sectors for 2 years, right? What is going to happen when all these little projects just keep popping off? Okay, yeah, that's all that there is right now. And I don't care if it's November. I mean, there's Gann work that says, the next window for a good pop is like November 5th. Okay, fine. The good news, if the rest of 2025 does, I don't know if I can use this word, but let's just say the rest of 2025 sucks, or the big new high is 132 instead of 200. You know what that means to me? That means that next year in the first quarter, the uptrend in general is sustainable. If they did the whole thing up to 200, you would be expecting an everything crash at some point, either in January or March. But if they don't do it, this can carry on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something shocking that came out of the Gann model today. I'll give you a free one that'll make you happy. Do you realize that if this thing does not go parabolic this year, that you could have an insane alt season in March of next year? In other words, if this thing doesn't go parabolic this year, then you could be looking at alt season with all this pent-up energy. Whoosh. You could get alt season next year in March. Now, that may wind up being a top, but we all know what happens when all of altcoins get going. And naturally, you'll be shocked to know that privacy could lead the charge, which it could include, obviously, Monero and Zcash, but Matrix is supposed to be out in January, and AIntivirus is not dead because they're going to put that LLM inside of a robot. McAfee will live again, not to mention the fact that they've got they have so many privacy projects. One day when Skynet introduces himself, trust me, it's all there waiting for you. It is. And every time they use a product, that token gets burned. I mean, they're way ahead of it. They're ahead of their time. They're not wrong. They're just early. And that's fine, right? Because, everyone's like, well, I want to go back to the days of Bitcoin where I could hodl it at $40. Yeah, okay. And you had to live with how many 90% drawdowns in Bitcoin? Supposedly some guy moved $8 billion worth of Bitcoin to a more secure facility. They're not selling anything. Everyone's like, oh my God, $8 billion in Bitcoin is moving. Okay. Right. Everybody negative. Okay. Okay. Have fun with this. I'm doing love, humanity, and crypto. That's what I'm doing. You want to do 77K? Trick or treat? Trick for you. Not doing it. Not doing it. Just not doing it. You know, this just carry me out and, you know, no one will watch the show and, you know, 77K, have a nice day. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Hedera. Okay. Let's talk about Hedera. What goes up? What no one understands, what no one knows how to buy, and everyone hates. Conceivably, that could be Hedera for the Hedera ETF in the equity market. Nobody knows what that is. What's Hedera? It's a karate combat layer 1. I mean, to be completely honest with you, the thing I know the most about Hedera is that Wendy O tweets about it all the time. That's how much I know about Hedera. And they have karate combat, which is cool as hell. And, you know, Hedera cannot get above the 50-day moving average. You know, you have this very nice little downward sloping wedge. You know, if you look at the money flow, everybody kind of little sort of poured out of it at the low right before they come out with something that the equities guys can play with. And there's a LuxAlgo buy signal here, like the little momentum signal. Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. And by the way, you know, I know we talked about X waves and how that could be scary or not, or it's a bottom, but you know, I'm pretty sure I thought somewhere in here, no, maybe not. Thought I had myself a buy signal on Bitcoin. Maybe it's on the 4-hour chart. Man, I'm just, yeah, here it is. Okay. So the battle is joined. The LuxAlgo battle in Bitcoin. The pink resistance block at 110 versus the momentum, the strong momentum buy signal on that thrust to 110. We will see. All these buy signals, you know, the last one, it was like, you know, they have not worked thanks to the Binance mess. Everybody in, everybody out, and now we sit and we wait. By the way, private Bitcoin, Zcash up 17%, Dash up 19%. What's next? Let me tell you what's next. I bet. Bitcoin Cash. Nice 5-wave up. Nice little zigzag correction. Nothing ugly on this chart. Nice support around 525. Pressing the 50-day moving average. Watch out in this thing. Watch out. You know what I'm saying? Like when that goes, that goes. Let's check the DeMark work. Just doing a little live TA here. By the way, if you like live TA, please feel free to hit the like button. We want to thank our Patreon members for supporting us and our YouTube members. So here we are with Bitcoin Cash weekly. 557. So you got yourself a 13 top. You got yourself a decline. And now we're making a decision. Is this a correction or a major top? Well, we got 557 is the mother of all levels. And just in case you're wondering, yeah, the bigger the base, the higher in the space. And watch out if Roger Ver ever gets back on the tape. Okay. You have A, B, C. So you've had yourself your little correction. You have a 9 top, and now we are deciding if this is a top in a range or the pause that refreshes. This thing turns around and takes off. This thing had a mind of its own on the way up, right? This was the first. This led Zcash. This thing was in an uptrend when everything else sucked. So again, everyone's selling. You know, every uptick gets sold. No crypto is immune to that. I don't know if that's Binance. I don't know what they're doing. But what I do know is this. If they sell, and it doesn't break, guess what? Somebody's absorbed the selling. It's that plain Jane. I mean, even, you know, from Bitcoin all the way down to antivirus, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, they wrecked it. Fine. You know, they may not do it after the airdrop now. Now, if you want the privacy coin, right? I mean, you can, you know, that's speculative, right? You don't have to do that. There's Zcash, whatever you want. Take a shot. Like, you know, you can try, you can take a shot at privacy, or you can meet the senior director here who's trying to take it all apart. Why are they trying to take it all apart? Because they're afraid of it. Why are they afraid of it? Well, that goes back to the holiday season, right? What's good about being human? How about love? How about freedom? What happened to freedom? Anybody remember this? The United States of America? 12,000 people in the United Kingdom made the wrong Facebook post. You know, I don't know if it's ever happened to you. There was a guy named Mike Kimmelman. And, you know, I worked with him when I worked with Charlie Shrem. And I don't know, he wound up on the wrong end of a guy named Elliot Spitzer in New York, who was kind of after Wall Street for anything he could get after Wall Street for. And Mike Kimmelman sat 3 seats down from a guy that got convicted for insider trading. And that went to court, and he didn't settle, and he went to jail. I read his book, and the first 2 chapters of the book are, what does it feel like when federal law enforcement knocks on your door and 20 guys who essentially do paperwork from 9 to 5 and work out from 5 to 8 show up and are walking around your house. You know, everybody sees guys like this on TV, but it's a much different story when they're in your living room, or they're in your grill, or they're on the street, or whatever. Now, of course, we support all our men and women who are out there serving the good old USA, trying to keep law and order. However, if the world changes, as guys like, you know, thought leaders from electric car companies are advertising, does not the world change? Does the case for Bitcoin, like we're talking about a 20, 30% drop in Bitcoin, really? The world going to change to where we don't want Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin all a part of the AI trade, which has got more FOMO in it than you can shake a stick at? I mean, are we not, the market that invented FOMO is not going to participate in the FOMO? Is that what we're saying? Because that's ridiculous. And I'm not sure anybody on YouTube is explaining this to you. I don't think so. Right? We had Arrow move, and then Aave went after that. But nothing's happening here. Nothing is happening. Okay. So Arrow is doing kind of a classic, right? So you break out of a channel, and then you break the 50-day moving average, right? So let's focus in on the candles, because that's kind of what we got these days. We got to like go down to the individual candle to have a TA show. Okay, you break the 50-day moving average intraday, but you close down below it because everyone's afraid of it. Then you break above the 50-day moving average, but they do the retest of it the same day because they're afraid of it, because they keep selling. Okay. They're selling into a breakout. They don't believe it. Or there's a lot of wounded market makers from Binance who are liquidating. Again, if that's the case, their selling is one and done. Even if it takes a week, let them all sell. Like if there's losses from that, guys are forced to liquidate. That's what it feels like, right? You get all this volume on the upside. Market makers, they push it so they can sell what they have to sell, recover losses. I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can see this, right? You know, I can see this, and I can see this. And I can see equities guys crying about a close at an all-time high. Very discouraging close. Very discouraging close. Okay. You're obviously not working in the same business we are, Jim, but that's okay. That's good. Right? It's like only the real men work over here. And women, of course. Okay, Linea. $190 million market cap. Probably a nice launch and then straight down. And what we're looking for on this is spike potential. Is there any spike potential here? Let's see. Let's do some live TA. By the way, if you like live TA, I'm pretty sure that you should hit the like button. I don't think that's a lot to ask. Do you? I don't. I think you should hit the like button. Sometimes we get 200 likes on a stream. I think you should do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like a complete give up trade to me, but you never know. You never know. I mean, it's got $180 million market cap. I can't wait to see what it is. Sometimes I like to chart it before I look at what it is. What is it? Building the L2 where Ethereum wins. Bootstrapped by consensus. I don't know why everybody, it's like everybody was talking about Ethereum going to like 10,000 and then everyone stopped talking about Ethereum. Except Tom Lee, who just continues to hoover it up, by the way. Every day it's like, Tom Lee buys more. Tom Lee looks at ETH below 4,000. Probably the way Michael Saylor looked at Bitcoin below 70. He's just like, I'm just going to take it all. I'm just going to take it all. Why? Okay, well, honestly, because they're trying to be wild men. That's their job, right? To promote the company, to get attention, to play the attention game with the currency and the company that's buying the currency. But, if you look at ETH on a weekly basis, what's really happened here in the last 3 years? Nothing. It's in a big square range. Now we're having a big battle up at this DeMark point at 4,000. Not working out so far this week. And, today's a good day to look at monthly charts. Okay. Yeah. We're going to battle it out at 4,000, which goes all the way back to FTX. And, with this DeMark count, you can still have 4 more up months. You can have 3 more up months. Yeah, no, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 more up months in ETH. November, December, January, February, and alt season in March. Wow, that's kind of catchy. I may have to write that down. Everyone's like, when alt season? Well, obviously not now. We have alt spike season right now. I don't understand why you would give up on crypto when this is the perfect time with all the mouth that's out there to hug your significant other, to grab some crypto, to stay with the crypto that you had, like the guy that had TIG, right? That guy was asking us about TIG every member stream for a month. And I know Toby kept telling him, don't evaluate crypto when it's down. Like if it's dormant and it's down, unless it's running a trading stop loss on a leveraged position, why give up? Because everything you liked about it can turn around and happen. And that goes for crypto. And frankly, that goes for your life. Because consumer sentiment is so bad. How do you fix consumer sentiment? How do you fix a privacy problem? How do you fix that? How do you fix the money so you can fix the world? How do you fix fiat? How do you fix debt? How do you fix that you can have a bubble in certain components of the stock market with crypto, which invented bubbles, completely dormant? Everyone's like, winter is coming. Bro, this has been winter for I don't know how long. Ask the guy that owns TIG. Ask him. Guy's been living through winter. Now it's spring, which is what we think it is, which is why we published the altcoin spike list in Patreon Platinum, which is also why you should listen to Toby Ward, because Toby Ward gets on TV and looks at everybody and goes, what's the problem? Right? Like, this was the metaphorical Halloween decoration for today. Toby Ward just, cleans up all this lackluster, cleans out your head, right? Just like, right in the ear. Clean out your head. I don't care where they take this thing. I don't. Like no one's going to get me off this to where I'm, it's like, oh my God, it's over, just to get attention. You want to get attention? You put the guy on the thumbnail with the blue suit and the yellow tie going, you know what? You're not getting me off this. Let me hug my significant other, right? And look at my turkey and hold on to my Bitcoin. Or get involved in a privacy project and start investing in something that you believe in. What do you believe? Not what I believe. What do you believe? Oh, I don't believe anything. I would recommend you shift that. And I think I should welcome who's here, because I go off and I go, okay, I'm done. And then I don't welcome who's here, particularly all our Spartan colonels who have been here for a year and our new members, and the guy from Portugal who's up in the middle of the night. There's a guy who watches this stream who gets up in the middle of the night to watch it. Last name Lopez. Jeff Dickinson, don't worry, bro. I'm on the Aero. I'm on board with Aero and ETH. Tyler Hall from the AIntivirus universe riding that bucking Bronco. Tango FN, forget about it. Wolf Riot Star. GN, When Banana. I don't know, dude. Now would be good. And if not, it's bigger in March. So they either do the banana now and have the crash next year, or they don't do the banana now and have alt season in March. We are going to win here either way. Mark my words. Cisco, a member, right? Cisco with that McAfee emoji, which I'm very proud of. By the way, if you sign up for $4.99, you get to use these emojis and get priority on comments, right? Tyler is like BTFD and Anti. Diego is here. Jeff, right? George, Live It 131. Gabriel, Search Agent, some new names. Joe Mama, Programming Oasis. Chris, ICP. We got ICP on one of our lists from our book reports in the YouTube member area, right? Oh, Zcash TA, please. Thoughts on Synthetix? Can't believe. I think I did the Zcash TA. Now, if you, I do think you should see this, because Zcash TA is, is wild, right? Zcash is wild. Like Zcash is either going to respect the TA or not. Like there's no sign of a top on DeMark work. Just saying, okay. But if you look at the Elliott wave on the Zcash daily chart, right? You have kind of like a 5 of 5. There's 2 5s here. So this is like the conclusion of multiple 5 waves up at the premium zone. Now, if Zcash blows through this, then, oh my God, it's just Katie bar the door. If this is some sort of unstoppable 2017 repeat. Personally, as much as I love this, I do love it. I think you got to ask yourself, based on the fact that, these guys are not exactly ready for full privacy. Okay. You have to ask yourself, if this thing does do another major thrust to like 500 or something crazy, whether that's like a signal that maybe you could rotate from Zcash to Bitcoin. Like, I don't know. Is there a final decline in Bitcoin and a final thrust in Zcash? If you didn't have an alternative privacy play and you have good trade location in Zcash, I mean, here's my attitude. If it's a trader or a leverage trader, you can take some money off the table and look to buy it back on some flush, because this is a buy on a flush along with all the rest of privacy. Monero hasn't taken off yet. You can find out about Monero and what the upside target is or what the outlook for is in the YouTube member podcast. Okay. Clearpool, which I can't stop loving because it's from the guy, Just Dario. Right? They just keep hitting it, right? But they hit it into the discount zone. And here is your equivalent in LuxAlgo of the DeMark 13 signal right there. And I don't know if I have Clearpool on DeMark, but obviously that's discouraging for anybody. But again, yeah, so Clearpool daily, 13 bottom, selling climax, 9 bottom, DeMark 5 wave with the 0. Like, if that's not a bottom, then I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, again, just people giving up left and right, which is why I want you to go out and be human. Because if you go out and be human, you might not give up. Don't give up on this. Even if it goes to Bitcoin goes to 103, I don't care. I'm just going to buy more at 103 because I know if it's lousy this year, it'll be better next year. You may not have the everything crash, at least not in crypto. And if you do have the everything crash, crypto is going to come back much stronger. Synthetix, so all the way up, all the way down. Welcome to altcoins in late 2025. You have a 9 bottom on support. It's just, it's I cannot get negative. I cannot get negative. Now, was that a pain? Was that a pain? Yeah, that was kind of a pain, right? But I don't think Synthetix is one and done. I don't think Aave is one and done either. All this DeFi stuff, Chainlink, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I mean, the antivirus guys, when they build Matrix, they want to build a cross-chain bridge. I don't know if Chainlink is involved in that, but like the world is not going cross-chain. Is that what you're telling me? Render, 2 days away, 3 days away from a 19 bottom, or 4 days away from 19 bottom. 4 days away from a 13 bottom and a 9 bottom, most likely. By the way, this is still on the books of Multicoin Capital. You know, if they give up on it, well, I guess you have a problem, but I don't see the case to pack it in on this, even if it's miserable. I just don't. The spike took it all the way down to the discount zone. I understand that they're just tormenting you. I don't see an immediate bottom. But, you know, on a 4-hour chart, you know, you're running into these downside momentum waning, and they just keep hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. The objective is either to get you out and force you out, or there is somebody out there who is forcibly selling altcoins because they're being liquidated. And we just don't know about it yet, which is a very good explanation for why this market rushes up. Like Bitcoin rushes up to 115 like it's going to 150, and then it absolutely gets slammed. Now, some guys on Twitter think that's what's called distribution, which means smart money is just unloading, or someone who's caught or getting liquidated is unloading, which is why when it, you know, comes off 115, it collapses because it's forced selling. If you were distributing quietly, you would actually let it go up and slowly liquidate, right? That's if it was distribution, right? You actually let the market go up if you're distributing. If you're forcibly selling, you either push it up or let it go up and then just slam it, right? You get out of as much as you can. I think that's obviously what's happening here. Because, I mean, like I said, you have insane FOMO in equities. You have insane valuations and, like, you know, renders. Like, I don't know. Like I said, the Dairy Queen cup, you know, it's like, you know, just, it doesn't make any sense. And altcoins are already telling you that when they spike, they will go. The energy to move Synthetix is still there. The energy to create that spike has not gone anywhere. It hasn't. The energy to move Zcash has not gone anywhere, even if Zcash corrects, and maybe Zcash won't correct. I hope Zcash doesn't correct. Like, I would love to buy more at 250 on a really nasty correction. I would love that. I would love Bitcoin to go up and Zcash to go down so I can buy Zcash. But if Zcash went to like 3,000 or some insane number, that's going to put privacy on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. And I know some boys who are going to build a privacy project that's going to be backed by major influencers, right? You know, 1 million followers on the main McAfee account, 150,000 for Janice, right? I'll lend my big mouth to it, and there could be more guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, privacy, love, human freedom. To our customers, we appreciate your business. To people who aren't our customers, come join us and make money because we're hot. We're not giving up on this market. We're not giving up on crypto. We're not giving up on human freedom, because if it doesn't go up now, it's going to go much higher later. That is the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.